I got to tell you, I feel pressure with regard to the poll questions every day because it has become a thing for a lot of people. 30, 35,000 on a weekday, 40, 50,000 people on a Saturday, and many tell me they look forward to the poll question of the day. I have a winner today. And yes, I say that with some regularity, but not every day. But today's a winner. The Wednesday poll question is one that I'm really psyched about. What level of coverage should the media afford to the U.S. Army's 250th birthday parade? And your choices are extensive, moderate, minimal, or none at all. And yes, my wording is key. I am forcing you to vote against the Army if you are inclined to say none. Thank you to my friends, the great team at Play Gun Lake Online Casino and Sportsbook. You can live bet while you watch the game. Live betting is better on the Play Gun Lake Online Casino and Sportsbook app. Detroit baseball rolling along, plus the Pro Golf Tour, finals in pro basketball, hoops, hockey cup playoffs. You can live bet on all of the above while you watch with the completely redesigned and ultra sleek Play Gun Lake Online Casino and Sportsbook app. Whether Detroit baseball wins or not, there's always another way for you to win on the Play Gun Lake Sportsbook and Online Casino app. You get these hot online slots that have been added. The Big Easy, Panda Queen, Rake and Bacon Odyssey, Medusa's Golden Gaze, Space Invaders Roulette. They're always there, and they're always adding new games. It's a lot of fun stuff. It's the only sports betting and online casino that I ever use and recommend for my friends in Michigan. Play blackjack, roulette, poker, craps, hot online slots like Cash Eruption, 88 Fortunes, Cleopatra, the online slots, all your favorite stuff. And new users, $1,000 casino bonus back. If you're down in the first 24 hours, it's got to be wagered. Go to playgunlake.com, download the app right now. Enjoy all the action and excitement from the casino at your fingertips. Got to be 21 and in Michigan for the Play Gun Lake Online Casino and Sportsbook app. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. The Tuesday poll result from the Smerconish.com daily poll question. I must say, I feel like we've been right on the news with so many of these. Yesterday, I was asking, should patients without a terminal illness, have the right to die? 32,274 voted, and 69.13%. I was really surprised by that, said yes. And when I say we're right on the news, I'm holding and looking at the page one above the fold New York Times headline, which says, in New York, one step closer to assisted death. Now, that is not for those with a terminal illness, not for those without a terminal illness. What put this very much on my mind and in play for us to discuss was an interview that I did with Art Kaplan, the bioethicist from NYU Langone, where we talked largely about Canada. I didn't know Canada was the world's #1 provider of assisted dying. Their law is called Medical Assistance in Dying, the MAID law. There are two tracks to it. Track one is similar to the U.S., 10 or 11 of our states, maybe now adding New York, which say that if you have a terminal illness and if you've consulted with doctors and if there's been a waiting period and if you yourself cause your death, unlike what goes on in Canada, then the U.S. allows it in certain circumstances. But I had a good conversation with Art Kaplan to talk about the way they do it in Canada, because track 2 in Canada is all about suffering. And there's no requirement of a terminal illness. And that's why I was asking the question. Okay, poll question today on this Wednesday. What level of coverage should the media afford the U.S. Army's 250th birthday parade? Your choices: extensive, moderate, minimal, or none at all. And now this subject is, as it's Wednesday and the parade is Saturday, this subject is getting a lot of attention. We were on it because Alex Eisenstadt from Axios was a guest of mine on radio yesterday for Axios 2 days ago. He broke details as to what is planned for the Army's, I'm doing the air quote thing, the Army's 250th birthday. The lead: Army officials are preparing to display rocket launchers and missiles along with more than 100 military aircraft and vehicles next weekend. Such a display of military equipment is rare in the United States, and critics of the event have expressed concerns about the imagery as well as the damage the heavy metal military vehicles, I said heavy metal, that's kind of funny, the heavy military vehicles could pose to the city streets. So it's going to cost like 45 or 50 mil, and a large part of that budget is for street repair in the immediate aftermath of it. There's going to be an F-22 fighter jet flyover. 7,000 military personnel are going to be involved in the parade. It's going to set off at 6:30 Saturday night and will end with a firework demonstration, and the president will be in a reviewing stand on the ellipse. So it will feature 8 CH-47 Chinook helicopters, 16 Apache helicopters, 16 Black Hawk helicopters, 28 M1A1 Abrams tanks, 28 M2 Bradley fighting vehicles, 4 Paladin howitzers, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And now a lot is being written about it, including today from the Associated Press. I find interesting the way they worded their lead. As the nation's capital cleans up from the culmination of World Pride this past weekend, focus now shifts to a very different massive event, Saturday's military parade, and here's the way they word it. To honor the 250th birthday of the Army and the 79th birthday of President Donald Trump. So the AP coverage is saying it's his birthday celebration and the Army's. Alex Eisenstadt yesterday from Axios, when he was a guest of mine on radio, made clear that the planning had been in the works for a lot longer than the last 4 months that Trump has been president, but they've taken it up several notches on his watch. And other branches of the armed services are also celebrating birthdays this year, 250th birthdays this year, but they're not going to be faded with such a celebration as will be the Army, which happens to coincide with Trump's birthday. So you can understand how, against the backdrop of what's going on in LA and against the backdrop of what is now going on in other cities across the country, and Saturday's No Kings protests that are going to take place all across the country, it really sets the stage for a potentially tumultuous day on Saturday. The president said from the Oval Office yesterday, for those people that want to protest, they're going to be met with, quote, very heavy force. So after Alex Eisenstadt was here yesterday, I went to the phones, took calls. Many people called and said, well, I'm not going to watch this. And then I said, well, I wonder where you'll be able to watch it. I wonder whether the media coverage of this is going to be, in sync with a quote unquote national celebration. Who's going to put it on TV? And I said yesterday, I'm sure Fox News will. I don't know what CNN will do. I don't think MSN will. But how do you not cover it? How do you not cover it? If it were the Army's 250th celebration and there were a parade of some type without President Trump, I think most would be covering it. Well, lo and behold, today from Variety, just perfect timing and shows that we were on top of this. Does a parade meant to celebrate the nation truly exist if it can't get on a national TV broadcast? Mainstream TV news outlets seem divided over how to cover an extravagant display of military might along the streets of Washington, D.C. from the Trump administration. Then it goes on to provide some background that I've already shared as to what's planned. Some will give the event a mere nod. Others will utilize all the resources a national TV newsroom can muster. ABC, NBC, CBS are unlikely to preempt regular TV programming for coverage of the event. I'm not surprised by that. ABC News plans to cover the parade across programs and platforms, including 24/7 streaming news channel ABC News live coverage beginning at 6 p.m. So to their advantage, they've got different platforms and they can say, well, we covered it from a streaming perspective, but we didn't do it on conventional television, which is really what I'm talking about. More information from Variety as to what will the parade coverage consist of. Some news outlets intend to cover the parade with great fervor. Who do you think they're about to mention? Right. Fox News Corporation's news channel will preempt its Saturday schedule with 4 hours of special coverage. A program called Army 250 Parade will air from 6 to 10 p.m. Lawrence Jones and Emily Campagno will be live from Washington, D.C. A whole host of other people will be participating. News Nation will devote hours of coverage to the event. The coverage from Variety says ABC has good reason to stick with regularly scheduled programming. The Disney-backed network has plans to broadcast the UFL championship game Saturday night. I didn't know that was the case. CBS is going to have a repeat of the show Elizabeth, as well as an episode of 48 Hours, so they're not breaking stride. NBC is ready to air reality programming, including Destination X and Yes, Chef. I am so out of touch. I'm so out of touch with these shows. But I did watch the Brett Favre documentary on Netflix. Fox is scheduled to show, Fox, meaning not Fox News, Fox is going to show Major League Baseball on Saturday night, either the Yankees and the Red Sox or the Padres and the Diamondbacks. And then it says other cable networks do not seem poised to offer robust coverage. MSNBC is going to have Ali Velshi on hand, according to a person familiar with the matter, to cover news as it happens. Warner Brother Discovery's CNN not able to offer immediate information. So actually, two things I want to say about that. The George Clooney Good Night and Good Luck last Saturday night had huge ratings. That was a total win for CNN. And what occurs to me is that certain of the outlets not inclined to cover the parade, if it turns to chaos, if there are protests, then I'm sure they're going to be all over it. Then I'm sure they will be all over it. So that's not what I have in mind, though, when I ask the question, what level of coverage should the media afford U.S. Army's 250th birthday parade? I have a representative of Pew Research on the program today in the third hour. And I'm really looking forward to this conversation because they just published new data. About the gap in American news sources. I don't know that you'll be surprised. It's just confirmation of how we are all so differently siloed, how there is such distrust among Republicans of most news outlets, and there's just very little overlap in terms of where people get their news. Although I did find this interesting. This is an interesting tidbit. The number of Democrats who go to Fox and the number of Republicans who go to CNN in the 20% range, I think it's like 25-ish% range, are equal. You know, Republicans mostly are going to Fox and Democrats are mostly going to CNN and to a lesser extent MSNBC. So how many go the other direction? The number's about the same. What's my point? My point is, from a programming standpoint, it makes total sense for Fox to cover the parade. But given that it's the Army's birthday, and I know many say, no, it's only because it's Trump's birthday. Yeah, that's what AP is noting. I think on the basis that it's the Army's birthday, and President Trump yesterday at Bragg said, we don't, and maybe you're going to say for good reason, we don't celebrate our victories. We really don't celebrate our victories, but for the U.S. role in World War II. And he made a joke about this at Bragg. You know, he told them they'd be speaking German with a wee bit of Japanese. Yeah, I laughed. I'm laughing now. I think there's something to be said for it. We could use a little national pride. I mean, what's my answer to the question? What level should they? I think at a minimum, moderate. If I were programming a major media outlet, well, I'll tell you this. I can tell you that the Smerconish.com Sunday newsletter, unless there's a huge story, will probably lead with the outcome of the parade and whether there was any unrest. I love the poll question. I hope you're into it. What level of coverage should the media afford U.S. Army 250th birthday parade? Go to Smerconish.com and cast your ballot. Your choices are extensive, moderate, minimal, none at all. I'm going with moderate. I'm going with moderate because not that it's Donald Trump's 79th, but because I want to recognize the Army, and I'm all for national unity. And maybe some could come from this. Like and subscribe, like and subscribe, like and subscribe, and set yourself up for notifications. Thank you so, so much. See you, gang.